My name is Kali, and I am a Muslim. I haven't said the Shahada yet, not officially, not in front of an imam or a crowd or anyone who would record the moment, but I know, with every single fiber of my being, that I already am. The words live inside my chest. They have been living there for longer than I can even explain to you right now. I made the decision to say them after Ramadan, not because I am unsure, not because I am scared, but because I want to do it right. I want to step into that moment the way it deserves to be stepped into, with everything I have, completely, honestly, with my whole heart wide open. People keep asking me questions. They want to know when, they want to know why. Some of them tilt their heads and lower their voices and ask me the one question that bothers me the most. Did you do this for a man? Every single time someone asks me that, I feel something tighten in my chest. Not anger exactly, something more like sadness. Because the question itself tells you so much about what people assume. It tells you that they cannot quite believe that a young British woman, someone who grew up outside of this faith, outside of this world, could genuinely look at Islam and fall in love with it on her own. That she would need a reason beyond the truth itself. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you how this actually started. I was not brought to Islam by a person. I was brought to Islam by something I cannot fully put into words. Something that found me before I even went looking for it. It started with questions I had been carrying for years. Questions about life, about meaning, about who I was, and what I was supposed to be doing here. The kind of questions that sit heavy in the back of your mind and refuse to go away no matter how busy you keep yourself, no matter how many distractions you pile on top of them. They wait for you. They always come back. I started reading, I started watching, I started listening. And somewhere in the middle of all of that searching, I began to understand things about Islam that no one had ever told me. Not on the news, not in school, not anywhere I had ever been. I began to understand the depth of it, the way it speaks to every single part of a human being, the way it answers questions that I had never heard answered anywhere else in my life. I would read something and feel this quiet, steady peace wash over me, like something clicking into place inside my chest, like something I had always known but never had the language for. There is a word for what I felt. I don't know if I can translate it perfectly into English, but in Arabic they call it fitra, the natural state, the innate inclination that every human soul is born with. And I think what happened to me was that I found my way back to mine. After years of searching in all the wrong places, of feeling like something was missing without being able to name it, I found it. And it was this. 4 months ago, I did something terrifying. I went to a mosque. I remember the morning I decided to go. I remember standing in front of my mirror, trying to figure out what to wear, trying to figure out what was appropriate, feeling a kind of nervous excitement that I had never quite felt before. My hands were shaking a little. My heart was loud in my ears. I didn't know anyone there. I had never been inside a mosque in my entire life, but I knew, in that deep, quiet, unshakable place inside of me, that I was supposed to go, that this was the next step. I want to be honest with you about what happened next, because I think honesty matters, even when it is uncomfortable. When I arrived, I was made to wait outside. The prayer was going on inside, and I understand that. I truly do. I respect the prayer. I respect the space, but no one came out to greet me. No one opened the door to say, "Welcome. We're so glad you're here." I stood there on my own, on the steps of that mosque, in the city where I was born, and I felt like a stranger. And I waited. When the prayer ended and people started to come out, I tried. I tried to connect, tried to explain why I had come, tried to put into words what was living inside my heart. But the conversation I had imagined, the one where someone sits down with me and hands me a book and says, "Tell me your story, tell me where you are, let us walk through this together." That conversation didn't happen. I expected guidance, I expected warmth, I expected someone to see that I was standing there with something real and important happening inside of me, and to meet me there. Instead, I walked away that day without saying the Shahada. I had gone there thinking that maybe today was the day. I had woken up that morning carrying that possibility, like something fragile and precious in both hands. But something about the experience left me feeling like I wasn't quite expected, like I had knocked on a door and someone had looked through the window and then quietly walked away. I want to be very careful here, because I don't want to be unfair. I don't want to speak badly about those people. I believe they are good people. I believe they weren't trying to turn me away. Maybe they didn't know what to do with me. Maybe they were caught off guard. Maybe on a different day it would have been completely different. But I also want to be honest about the way it felt, because I know I am not the only one who has ever walked toward this faith and felt, even for a single moment, like the door was not fully open. And if you are sitting somewhere right now, watching this, and you have ever felt that too, I want you to know something. The door is open. Islam itself never closed it. What you are looking for is real, and it is there. And one difficult afternoon at one mosque on one ordinary day does not define the whole of what this faith is. Because despite that day, I didn't leave. I didn't stop. I went home and I kept reading, kept learning, kept feeling that pull that I cannot explain and cannot deny. I found people online who answered my questions with patience and kindness. I found voices that made me feel seen and welcomed in a way I had not felt in person. And slowly, week by week, the picture became clearer. The path became more real. And I want to tell you what I have learned in these months, because it has changed everything about the way I see the world. I have learned about prayer, not just the movements, not just the words, but what it truly means to stop 5 times a day and return to something greater than yourself. In a world that tells you constantly that you are the center of your own universe, that is a radical act. That is a profound and beautiful act of courage. To pause 5 times a day in the middle of everything, the noise, the stress, the endless demands, and bow your head and say, I am not the center. There is something bigger, something more, and I belong to it. I have learned about the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the way he treated people, not just the ones who believed what he believed, but everyone he encountered. The way he was gentle with strangers, the way he listened, the way he saw dignity in every single human being who crossed his path. I have thought about that many times. I have thought about how different things might have been, how different my experience might have been, if that same gentleness was the first thing that met me when I arrived at that door. I have learned about Ramadan. I am keeping it this year for the first time, not because anyone told me I had to, not because I am trying to prove something, but because there is something in the act of fasting, in the hunger and the patience and the deliberate turning away from ordinary life for a while. That feels like exactly what I have been searching for. A way to be present, a way to be real, a way to remember, in my body and my soul, what actually matters. And after Ramadan, after these weeks of learning and fasting and drawing closer to the truth I have been carrying in my chest for so long, I will say the Shahada. I will say the words out loud, and it will be real, and it will be official, and I will step fully and completely into the life that I believe I was always meant to be living. The life my fitra has been pointing toward since before I even understood what the word meant. My name is Kali, and I am a Muslim, not because of a man, not because someone persuaded me or pressured me or filled a loneliness inside me. I am a Muslim because I looked at this faith, really looked at it with honest and open eyes, and I recognized it. The way you recognize something you have always known but never had the language for. The way you recognize the feeling of coming home after a very, very long time away. I am proud of this. I am proud of the journey. I am proud of every uncertain, confusing, painful moment that led me here, because all of it Every question, every doubt, every quiet night of searching, all of it brought me to this truth. And to every Muslim who reads this or watches this, I want to ask you something from the bottom of my heart. Think about the people who might be standing on the steps of your mosque right now, the way I was standing on those steps 4 months ago. Think about the ones who are searching, who are halfway there, who are carrying something real and fragile inside them and just need someone to open the door a little wider. You may never know the impact of a single kind word. You may never know what it means to someone like me, someone who came from a completely different world and took the most terrifying step of her life toward yours. To be met with warmth, to be welcomed, to be seen. Please don't be the reason someone walks away. Be the reason they stay. And